Okay, sorry, got cut off. This is part 2. So what I did is I switched this. I'll go back really quick. And I inverted it. And so, oops, I accidentally clicked on selective color. I'm going to undo that. All right, so I'm going to right click on here. I'm going to do add mask to selection. So it brings that up. I'm going to click on a new threshold. All right, now I want this threshold to be the opposite of what I already have. So I'm going to do a Command I if you're on a Mac, or Control I, and you can see it switched my mask, so my black and white, and then you can see it's changed this to a threshold. We'll fix that little line in a second. And then I'm going to change this so I can see my line much better in here. Okay, I do have that little streak coming through, which shouldn't be an issue in Illustrator when I convert it. But I'm going to just bring this a little bit darker. If it's a little dark in the corner, like for me where it's not on my photo, that's okay. I can delete that out later. All right, then with this, I just want to bring the threshold up in that area a little bit more. So what I'll do is I'll switch from black to white. So I'm still on my paintbrush, and then I'll just bring this through right here. And what it's doing is it's just adding more threshold to that area. Okay, so this actually looks really good for converting in Illustrator. So I'm going to save this. So File, Save As, once you get it looking good. And then you're going to save as a JPEG. So it's going to default as a Photoshop. So choose JPEG. And then save it where you can find it later. You just need a medium size. So 1 megabyte or smaller is fine. And if you're having trouble in Illustrator, once I show you the next step, you can come back and resave this as a smaller file. All right, so once I have that, if having both of these programs open at once is a lot for your computer, go ahead and close Photoshop. And then what you'll do is you'll make a new file in Illustrator. All right, we're gonna do Create New. And you're gonna choose Print, and you'll choose that letter. All right, so I already have that. So I'm going to go back to what I have. And then you're going to place your image. So do File, Place. And then you're going to choose the one that you did. This is the one I just made. So I'm going to place that. And I'm just going to click and drag until I kind of take up most of that space. Make it nice and big. All right, once I've done this, you're going to go to Object, Image Trace, Make and Expand. It's going to be a longer process. You don't necessarily have to rasterize it as long as you're as long as it goes quick enough that it'll change it for you. Okay, so that wasn't that long after all. So what it does is it creates these vectors. And so now I can go in and change like individual parts. So for example, like down here, I could do the direct selection, and I could select all of these little pieces, and I could delete those out. Okay, I can also come in with the eraser tool, which is right over here, and I could also come in and just erase those. You can use your bracket key just like you would in Photoshop. You can use your bracket key to make your brush bigger and smaller. All right, so you can go and start to refine some of these areas. And clean it up. So I would, oh, for some reason it didn't erase that. So I'm just going to come in and try it with the eraser again. Boom. Let's see, did that work this time? Yes. Okay. I was on the direct selection, and I think I needed to be on the regular selection. All right. So I would come in and I would clean up any of these lines that I don't want. And then you'll use the regular selection, and you have the option to make your line a little bit thicker. So I'm on the directs or the regular selection. I've selected the whole thing. And then I'm going to go up to stroke. It doesn't look like I can do anything, but if I just do the arrow up, it's actually adding a little bit of a stroke. Avoid making it too big, okay, too thick, because then it just looks kind of funny. But if you need to darken your lines a little bit, that's a good way to do that. You could also select certain areas and do that. This is also a time you could come in and you could use like the pencil tool or the brush tool and add more lines in there if you wanted to. Once you've done this, then we are going to save it. And I recommend that you just do a save as, and actually, sorry, you're going to do an export. So file, export, export as, and then you can choose Photoshop, and that'll just allow us to open it right up in Photoshop. So I'm going to name this line drawing.psd, and then I'll export it and save it. When you're saving, you can just do RGB, and we can do medium for your resolution. If you notice it's a little pixelated, then do the higher, but medium should be just fine. All right, and that'll write it. And then our next video next week will be starting with the painting.